Sorry, my fiance was calling me. Um, I was talking about how I get really bad panic attacks out of nowhere. I had like a really bad panic attack, I think around like May or June, where actually for the first time caught a seizure. It was like really bad. And then I was so scared, like I was having a panic attack on top of a panic attack because um I was actually having seizures for the first time, and my fiance was like, "Let's take you to the hospital." But because at the time COVID was like, well, COVID is still bad now, but COVID was like peaking, and I was just like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna have to go to the hospital, and I don't want to get coronavirus." That's number one. Number two, if I do go to the hospital, my fiance can't go in with me. So I'm gonna have to be by myself, dealing with this by myself. So every time I thought about it, it would get even worse, and then I'd be like, trying to kind of like passing out. And I remember my sister was here, her fiance was here, and my dogs have never seen me like have a seizure because I've never had a seizure before, and um, they were all on top of me. Even my sister's dog was on top of me, licking my face. Like, even though they didn't know what was going on, it was like they knew what to do, which I found was super adorable, like super cute. And the EMT was here, and I was just like, I don't want to go. And they're like, we can't leave you in this state because you can't even stand up. And like, I'm talking to them and I would get stuck on a word and I would be like the, or I would just be like looking at them and I'd be like, and then I'd try to like, I can feel it's like, how do I explain this? When I was going through it, it was like okay, feel, you know how when you feel like you're so tired you can't keep your eyes open, but you're trying to stay awake, you're trying your hardest, but like the sleep is trying to drag you and you're like, no, I can do it, I can do it. Like, that's how it felt. Like, I can feel myself starting to convulse and wanting to black out into nothingness, but my mind is like, no, stay awake, like stay awake. That's how I was feeling, and it lasted for over an hour. I had the EMT here for over an hour. They could not get me to go to the hospital because I was refusing to go to the hospital. That they actually had to call their like head boss because they didn't know what to do, because they were like, okay, I'm refusing to go, but they can't leave me in the state that I was in. So the head boss was here and he was like, well, you better figure it out, because if you don't stop this right now, we're gonna just have to take you straight to the hospital whether you like it or not. And I'm like, I'm trying, like it's not like I'm not trying, like I'm trying to not do this, but my body's not allowing me to. It was super bad. And then like I wind up they wind up leaving me, and he was like, if you call me again, we're taking you to the hospital whether you like it or not. So my husband, my fiance was just there for me, my sister was there for me, you know. And after a couple of hours it finally passed, but it was like a really 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 bad time that I went through, a really really bad time. And then like I caught another anxiety attack back in like, I'm gonna say, I think October. I caught another panic attack that it was so bad I actually had to go to the hospital. And the nurse was looking at me, and every time, like when we first came in through the emergency room, like my fiance was sitting with me, and the thought of having to go back to the area, and then my fiance wasn't gonna be with me, I was like I couldn't breathe. I couldn't, like, I was super super sick. And like the nurse is like, I can hear them talking, and one of the nurses like, yeah, you can tell she's having a really bad panic attack. And like they knew without even looking at my records. They was just like, yeah, this girl is having a really bad panic attack. So for me, it's really bad. Like I went through a whole year where I actually lost. I had four jobs, like four little part-time, like little jobs, and I was working basically anywhere from like 10 to 15 hours a day with all four jobs, for like 6 days a week. And I wind up losing all my jobs because I got to the point where my panic attacks were so bad that I almost became agoraphobe. The thought of even leaving my apartment had me completely dizzy, completely to the point where I was about to pass out. I was to the point where just stepping in front of the door, like just the threshold of the door to the outside and the door to the hallway, I would go into full on panic attacks. What really, 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 really saved my life was getting my dog Lucky. Um, he was found in the streets in Brooklyn, and my grandfather at the time found him, took him home because he Lucky was, it was winter time, it was snowing, and Lucky almost got hit by a truck because he was about to cross the street. And my grandfather grabbed him and took him home, put flyers out, tried to find a home for him for 6 months, tried to find his owners, and couldn't find, to no avail, couldn't find anybody that he belonged to. So my mom was like, I think that you need to have a dog, and since you love this dog so much, your grandfather's willing to give it to him. So yes, my grandfather rescued him, but he wound up rescuing me because Lucky refused to learn to go to a wee wee pad in the house, and I was already to the point where I was like, even going, like my apartment, I was living with my mom at the time, so my apartment was literally like in the middle of the block, and then on the corner of the block, and if you cross the street to the on the corner of my block is the store. And even just going to the store or next door to the store, which is the laundromat, I was full on panic attack, full on, like I would have to hold on to the gates of the buildings to walk to the store, and then like try to get whatever it is. Sometimes I would make it, sometimes I wouldn't make it, and sometimes I would have to call up somebody from the store and be like, hey, can you do me a favor and deliver it? Is there somebody that can deliver it to me? Or my mom's home attendant would be there, and I'm like, can you do me a favor and go to the store? And you know it was really bad. But he saved me because it was, I had to go outside, I had to take him for a walk. So at first it was like I would just stand in the threshold of my building and the outside, and I would let him loose and be like, go use the bathroom, because we had a tree right there. So I was like, go use the bathroom, go use the bathroom, and he would use the bathroom. And then it became to the point where I was like, I feel bad because he's only going from the front of the building to the tree. Then I took him half the block, and then I would go back in the house, and then it would be like I would take him the whole block down and then come back to the house. And then, little by little, after a couple of months of doing that, I started to feel fine. To As long as I had him with me, I was able to walk around my neighborhood without having a panic attack. It was still very hard taking public transportation, taking the bus, taking trains was a no-go. I did not take a train for a year. So whenever I had to go somewhere like Manhattan or the Bronx, because at the time I was living in Brooklyn, I would take a cab. Like I got myself into really, really, really bad debt because I was like, I can't function inside of a train because there's no air, and the train going fast and me seeing everything going to my face like really fast, I couldn't function. I just couldn't. Even sometimes the taking a cab, like one time I went to go, oh my god, I love Todrick Hall, big huge fan of Todrick Hall, and I had bought tickets to go see him when he was doing the Wizard of Oz thing, and I took I had tickets to go see him, and we went. Me and my girlfriend at the time was on the train, and I full on after 3 stops was like, I got out the train. I was having the only panic attack, and then she was like, "Let's go take a cab there," and I'm like, "Great, cab, great." I got in the cab, and as we're going over the bridge from Brooklyn to Manhattan, I'm trying to throw myself out of the cab because I'm having such a panic attack that even sitting in the cab, I could not. So I'm like literally trying to open up the door, and she's like trying to pull the door closed. And I'm like, I need out, I need out. And I felt so bad for the cab driver because he's not understanding what's going on. And I'm like, I'm like trying to rip my clothes off. I'm trying to get out of the cab. I'm trying to throw myself onto the freeway. Like, I'm trying so hard to get out that my girlfriend at the time was like, yeah, we're not going to Todrick Hall. We're going straight to the hospital. And I lost my money. I missed seeing Todrick Hall. I was really upset, really bummed out about it, but it is what it is. You know, can't do anything about it. But yeah, that's how bad my panic attacks are. So I've had a few incidents, you know. Um, but my my dogs, I have a few dogs now, and they saved my life. I can go on the train with them, and as long as I'm focusing on them, I can actually take a train. As long as I'm with them, I cannot personally take a train by myself. I need to either have my dogs with me or my fiance has to be with me because I cannot take a train by myself. Um, Buses I can do by myself, but it depends on like where I'm going. If it's a place that I don't know, I cannot. If it's a long bus ride, I cannot. But like if it's a short bus ride from like, you know, into Fordham, that's only like 15 minutes, or like to my doctor's appointment, which is only like 30 minutes, I can. But like anything above that, I need to have I need to have either someone with me or I have to have my dogs. So this year, well, 2020 was pretty rough on my mental health, pretty rough on a lot of things, pretty rough on my mom, who's my world, because, you know, rough on my sister, who's my everything, you know, my rough on my fiance, you know, rough on my mother-in-law, who I love to death, who's also my client. I love her to death, and it was rough on her too because she had to do a lot of doctor's appointments, and unfortunately we had to cancel them because both her and I were like super scared about it. But you know, I am really hopeful for this year. I'm hoping that Corona goes away. I'm hoping that my debts get paid off. Well, I paid off my debts, but I'm hoping that, you know, I can finish paying off this loan that I took, because it'll really help us out, you know, all of us out. I want to get a house, and I know that's another like debt to get into, but you know, a 3-bedroom apartment when you have all these animals that you need to take care of, and my mother-in-law is in a wheelchair, you know, she needs room to roam around. She needs closet space because she gets these you know, she gets like stuff from the doctors and stuff, and she needs to have room to put them in. I'm not gonna say exactly what it is, but I'm pretty sure you guys can imagine. And you know, we need room. And I need a bigger bed because our babies sleep with us, and they may be small, but they take up a hell of a lot of room. They take up most of the bed. Like me and my fiance are basically sleeping on each side of each corner of the bed because they want to be sleeping in between us, and they want to be like stretched out, and they don't want to just lay down straight, you know, horizontal. They want to lay down diagonal because they're assholes and that's the way they want to sleep. And plus we have 7 cats, and you know, they need space. I need to I want a backyard. I want my babies to be able to, since I don't go out like that, I want my babies to be able to at least go outside. And I don't take them to the park because I can't. I have to be at the house to take care of my mother-in-law, and on top of that, you know, with everything that's going on in the world, I want them to at least have a space to go outside. But I really hope that this year is better. I'm going back on my diet. I'm gonna be exercising on my my workout machine. Um, Drinking my water as always because I have my water almost empty. Gotta fill it up again. I love my water. I didn't used to love water, but 2020 actually got me to drink a lot of water, especially when they were saying that I don't like cold water. I don't personally drink a lot of cold water. I would rather actually have room temperature water. So I was like, when they was like, oh, drink a lot of room temperature water, I was like, got you. We're already there. But I do like room temperature water. I only like ice cold water when it's like one of those really hot days and I feel like I'm in the Sahara Desert and I need to quench my thirst. But I prefer room temperature water always. But this was a lot of nonsense talking. I figured I'd just talk anyway. But I'm hopeful. I hope everybody else is hopeful, and hope everybody else is will have a better year than last year. Too many deaths last year. My best friend lost her mom. She lost a few people. I have some really good friends that lost a lot of people. My ex-girlfriend, she had the corona, and thank God, even though her and I are no longer together, I still love her, and she's still a good friend of mine. So I'm just glad that she made it through. She made it through, even though she has like really chronic asthma, which was one of the things that I was really worried about. But thank God she made it through. So hopefully this year my mom will get into her apartment. Hopefully this year corona goes away. Hopefully this year is a better year for everyone. That's what I'm just wishing for. Anyways, thank you for listening to my nonsense for God knows how long. And I hope that everyone is safe out there. And please wear your mask. Whether you think it's fake or not, just wear it. I mean, it's not going to hurt you. It doesn't hurt anyone to wear a mask. I had a guy that was standing in front of us and he was just like picking at his nose, not wearing a mask, and then touching everything. And when the lady called us so that I was trying to get a money order for the rent, and I was just like, I'm not touching none of this stuff. I was like, you need to disinfect this. I don't even want to get next to the window. And she was like, I'm so sorry. I was like, it's not your fault, but like, he didn't have a mask on and he's over here like, no. So just wear your mask. Just be considerate. Just be a human being. You know what I mean? Just be a human being. Be considerate to others, even if you don't think that it's doing anything. If you don't feel like it's doing anything, then at least just put it on, even though it's not doing anything. You put on fucking other things. Just wear a mask. Anyway, bye.